What is going on, guys? How's it going? Who's going? Who knows anymore? But what I can tell you is, as you could probably tell, due to the fact of the quality of the video is probably already 20 times better than it was, and I don't have headphones on, which is another awesome thing to have. Obviously, I'm in the same location, but after a very long, overweighted period of time, Matthew Freeman has finally purchased himself a new cell phone. It's a very nice cell phone. It cost way more than I truly wanted to spend on a phone, but there was a couple points that sold me on it, kind of forced me to buy it, kind of in a sense. Um, but I just love the ability to be able to stand up now and talk and record and not be stuck to one place. And like I said, I could have new backgrounds, and the phone works again. And to bring up something that I was going to talk about a little bit later, but it doesn't really matter, I can go back to recording both the front and the back camera at the same time. So now I can finally get back into recording videos while I'm driving and doing car vlogs like we originally started doing from the beginning. Actually, funny, just in the randomness of what I wanted to talk about, anyways, when it came to my computer. So it's funny, I have actually been recording videos. The issue was there was a file. I changed up some things on my computer and I didn't realize that the save file location changed. And so every video I was recording was being saved in a different location than what I was used to. And so every single night I would record a video. Actually, one night I recorded two videos thinking that both of them, that the first one didn't work. So I recorded the second one and then I couldn't find it either. And I was so confused. I was like, what? How, like, what's going on? How is it like my videos are just recording but then deleting themselves? And then obviously, as I said, I come down to find out that I changed the file save location. It was still saving the videos, but it was saving them in a different location. So even though I haven't been posting videos, I did record those videos. So at least you'll get some interjected videos every once in a while that will be recorded from my laptop and it will be from the past. But fortunately, the videos themselves aren't particularly dated in a sense that it's going to seem strange to have them come out later, earlier, whatever, you know. So, in the off chance anybody out there wonders, just due to the fact of one of the videos you already saw asked about opinions on my phone, and then I did record a full video that had me asking everybody about their opinions on my phone or on their phones. But you know, that one can still come out as well, because even though I got a new phone, I'd still like to hear everybody's feedback about what they feel like is the best cell phone brand and or just the cell phone itself. um I went with another Motorola, which is funny because I was actually trying to get away from Motorola. um I didn't really like the last one I had, but the last one, which is actually funny. Now I can finally show somebody because it's I have another phone, so I have the ability to show. This is my last phone. This is the phone I got rid of today. It's a Motorola V3 or something like that. It cost $40. Hey, look, a picture of my puppy. Um, but yeah, so it cost $40, and obviously, as you would expect from a $40 phone, it was cheap. It didn't last. Oh, I mean, it lasted about a year and a half. It filled up on memory. It was crashing all the time. I wasn't receiving text messages and calls. I was, having issues where I would open up my phone and it'd just be a white screen, and I'd have to shut the phone off and turn it back on. Like, it was literally dying. So finally, and then obviously, secondly, I wanted to get a phone that would allow me to be able to start recording videos for YouTube on my phone again instead of using my laptop, because I really hate having to record my YouTube videos via my laptop. Not that's the worst thing in the world, but if it came out every once in a while where I was sitting down and using my laptop, that's one thing. But the cell phone already can just tell from me looking at the screen, the quality is astronomically better. So again, definitely definitely glad. So here's the two things that really sold me on this phone. Um, One of them was the fact that the phones that I was looking at were generally and typically an 8 megabyte front facing, which is the one you're looking at me now through now is only an 8 megapixel, which isn't really that bad. I'm pretty sure that phone that was I just showed you, its back facing camera, which is the one that's supposed to be like super nice, was only a 5. So I mean, like, definitely an improvement with just the front facing camera. And then secondly, the back facing camera is a 50 megapixel. It was the highest megapixel camera that I could get for the price. Actually, it was to the point where the only other competing cell phone that there was when it came to camera size was a camera that had a 42 gigabyte camera, or no, 48. I had a 48 megabyte camera, but the difference was, or megapixel. I keep saying megabyte. It's megapixel. What am I talking about? I have a 50 megapixel. This camera, the other phone I was looking at, had a 48 megapixel, so it was only 2 off. The only other difference was it was a 5G phone, and this phone's only a 4G, but that has also a little bit to do with the price, and there's another reason why I chose what I chose. But anyways, second reason I chose this phone was one of my all-time favorite things that I've ever done when it came to recording YouTube videos was the ability to be able to leave work or go to work, or one way or another, just to have a trip to work or a trip to the store or a trip to somewhere where I could physically dual record using both the rear camera and the front camera at the same time. You think it would be a simple feat to do, but it's not. I only had one phone in all existence, which is obviously the phone that I was doing it on. One phone in all existence that actually did it factory, like it came with the ability to do it. And every phone after that, if I wanted it to do it, I had to install an app. And then on top of that, the app wasn't fully supported, or at least the app I was using wasn't fully supported for a bunch of phones. So there were phones that I inevitably ended up getting that didn't have the ability to use both the front and the rear at the same time. So I got stuck with having to stop doing it and changing it all up. So now, fortunately for me, this phone came with dual record stock. So from a factory, opened it up, turned it on, can now record both that way and this way at the same time. So now that opens up the opportunity now for morning drive vlogs from home from work and stuff like that. The opportunity for quality content has just skyrocketed out of the roof, my friends. So that's what made me most excited. Yes, those are the two reasons that really excited me enough to want to buy the phone. Everything else stat-wise is like the same. They all come with a 2.2 or a 2.3 gigahertz octa-core processor, and they all have 64 to 120 gigs of internal storage, and just like the majority of everything else was the same. It was just, if it simply came down to what do you want your camera to be like, and the features so much that the phone can do would be the differencing parts. So my phone that I got rid of was a 5.5 inch. No, it's a 5.25 inch phone. And the phone I have is now a 6.5 inch. So this phone's an inch and a quarter bigger than my old phone, which considerably larger while holding it in my hand. But I've actually had most of my phones in my life have been very large phones. This last one being $40. Obviously, I bought it because it was $40. It was cheap. I just needed it right then and there. So, it was small and it was fine, but I love having a big phone. I have big fingers, so having a big phone is so much nicer. The buttons to type on the keyboard are nice and large. It's a lot easier for me to poke them and not have to worry about pressing 8 other keys that don't need to be pressed because my fat fingers can fit on the keyboard better. And I don't know, so much excitement now with my phone. See, like now it's time for smoke break, and instead of having to finish recording a video or possibly even pausing a video and then going out and stepping out and smoking a cigarette and then coming back and to finish recording the video. Now all I got to do is grab my phone, walk outside, and here we are in the cold Ohio, smoking a cigarette. Actually, just a little heads up for us Ohio folks out here. And then got the highway right there, so you might hear passing semi-truck or so. But for us Ohio folks, I was having a discussion earlier about weather, and we were talking about the amazing days and feelings when you can walk outside at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was talking more about my work, obviously, than just a normal average person, but still, I walk outside at 2 in the morning to smoke a cigarette, and it's so warm out, like hot warm, that, I'm wearing a t-shirt, and I can walk outside and feel good, And obviously, there's many states out there that get that way, but I'm just meaning in general. That's a feeling in Ohio that we only get for like a month and a half. And it takes so long to build up to get there. So, they were saying that they really wanted to see when, naturally Ohio was going to ever get back. So they were just pretty much wondering, when is it that we're ever going to get back to that kind of temperature where we can be outside at 2 o'clock in the morning in a t-shirt. And so I used the Weather Channel, which if you use the Weather Channel, you probably also know by now that the Weather Channel is about 50-50. They're either right on what's going to happen, or they're way off from what's going to happen. And Ohio is way too unpredictable of a state to actually ever guess and or predict what the weather is going to do, because literally it can change itself on a dime instantaneously. And we can go from fucking snow or sunny to snow. Actually, one of the coolest days of my life was, I think, 2 or 3 years back. I went to work when I was working at the plastic company. I left for work at 6 in the morning, and by the time I got to work at 7 in the morning, the temperature outside was like 76 outside and sunny and nice. And by the time I left for work, it was like 32 degrees outside and snowing, like blizzarding outside. And that's Ohio for you. It can literally change that rapidly, that quickly. So it's hard to predict. But still, while looking at the Weather Channel, I selected the 1 month feature, which is something that obviously, again, they can't even predict days out what the weather's going to do. So to believe what they think the weather's going to do for the next month is pretty outlandish. But it wasn't so much the weather as in, is it going to rain? Is it going to be sunny? I was more looking to see if whether or not there were, what the temperatures were going to be, because they can use historical temperatures to try to guesstimate what we could be having. And from their guesstimations, they figured that all the way until May 1st, because obviously I looked on April 1st, on all the way until May 1st, you can expect it to be 65 during the day and 44 during the night, which, like I was saying, isn't the worst, but that ain't great. That's practically what we have right now. It's like 38 degrees outside right now. It's cold. During the day tomorrow, it's supposed to be, I think, in the 60s or in the lower 50s or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but, so practically for the next month, we're going to be where we're at right now. And that didn't show until June 22nd. June 22nd was supposed to be 76 outside with a high of 55 during the night, which still ain't great. So let's all hope and pray for Ohio and hope that it decides to warm up a little bit faster than it has been, because we would really appreciate not having to continue to deal with this bullshit cold. I will say, though, that
this video is getting kind of long, and I'm about to end it. But there's actually a button, and I don't know what the button does, and it's next to the recording area button. And you know, when you hit the record button, most of the buttons go away, but this button stays. So it's got me really wondering what it does. So I'm going to temporarily kind of say goodbye right now. Like, goodbye, guys. In the off chance that I click this button and it does something bad and it deletes, or like not deletes, but you know, stops the recording, then this is my temporary goodbye. But in case it doesn't, be surprised. Something might be happening right now. I figured it out. It's a screenshot button. So actually, that's really cool. I was kind of wondering how I was going to go about taking the thumbnail screenshotted photo for the video, but now here we are. I figured it out. It makes sense. The button doesn't really look like a camera, but it's a circle with like a circle inside of it, kind of like a record button, but it's got a lot of lines through it. And so I'm not 100% sure how they guesstimate that you're supposed to assume that that's going to be the screenshot button, but good news, I got a screenshot button. I am not going to lie though, since I've purchased this phone this morning, well, Friday morning, because it's Saturday morning now, but since I purchased this phone on Friday morning, it hasn't left my hand, like, at all. Very rarely. When I was sleeping, I was even holding on to it until I fell asleep, and then it fell out of my hand, obviously, but literally, for pretty much the most part, I've put this phone in my hand the entirety of owning it. Really, I wanted to learn the features of it and get used to it before, you know, nights like tonight at work and stuff like that. And really wasn't too much to get used to. It was more the fact of, like I was saying with my old phone, the old phone filled up on memory super fucking fast. So I had to limit myself to only a few apps, to the point where I had the only 4 apps I had. Okay, we had 5 apps, but the only 5 apps I had on my phone were my Huntington app, because I use Huntington Bank, my Capital One app, because I use Capital One, my my Instagram, my Facebook, and Snapchat. And I hate Snapchat, but the only reason I had Snapchat was, at the time, it was the only way I had the ability to take photos, because since my phone was full of memory, it wouldn't allow the camera to work. Every time I tried to turn the camera on, it would come up and say, I'm sorry, but you're full of memory. You need to delete a bunch of shit. And even if I was, like, if I did clear memory up, it was still screwed up. So, so no more of that. But another good part is, I actually was doing it right before I started recording this video, but I took the 45 gigabyte SD card, micro SD card that was plugged into the old phone, put it into my computer, drug everything important off of it, you know, videos, pictures, important information, all that stuff, practically clearing it to what is new again, so that I can put it into the new phone. So I'll have 64, or into this phone, I have 64 gigabytes of internal storage on this phone, and then I'll have another 64 gigabytes of internal storage that obviously I can use for the videos and stuff like that, so I don't have to worry so much about the camera filling up. On top of that, since now I have it set up that I have the thumb drive, I can now set it up using the same system I'm using now, where I can then plug in the SD card from this phone into the computer, pull off everything onto it, dump it onto there, so I can keep the SD cards cleaned and cleared, and then that way I should take even longer before I fill up my phone. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go, guys, because I don't really have much else to talk about. I'm just excited about having a new phone. Probably the next biggest update for this channel is when I finally butch this hair. I've been hiding it from you guys in like every video, because it bothers me. I'm embarrassed by this mop of a hair that I have had. I have not grown my hair out this long since I was in like 7th and 8th grade, when I had a slightly emo side. It's bad. I have to comb it because it gets really curly and it's really long, and I hate it. And I like it when it's cold because, you know, it keeps me warmer, but it is a fucking ball of a mess. And then when you add the ball of a mess of hair on the face, it just looks terrible. So that's why in every single video that I've recorded for the last like 6 months, I've had this beanie on my head, because I hate having to see my own hair in the reflection, because it looks like shit. But it's all right, because one day we'll cut it, and then we will no longer have to wear the beanie. There you go. That was my screenshot. Was the beanie in the reveal of the hair. And I really do plan on cutting my hair probably in the next few days. So I already found my razor, or at least I found a razor that can cut my hair. And I still have yet to decide if I want to try to actually cut my hair a specific kind of way, since I've got extra hair to be able to try to cut a specific kind of way, or if I'm saying fuck it and I'm just going bald and letting it slowly grow back like I sometimes have done. Haven't done it for a long time, but sometimes I used to do. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, a like would be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to keep up with awesome content that comes out practically whenever I decide I want to do it. But it should work even better now that I have a cell phone to do it. If you do want to subscribe, you can go ahead and click on that circle that's right over here on this upper left-hand corner. If you want to check out the other videos from 2022 that we have recorded and posted this year, you can go ahead and click on the link over here on the right-hand side. I'd like to personally thank all of you for spending the time with me tonight while I rambled my face off to a camera. Thank you, and goodbye.